Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Who are you? Because we just met. I came into your house and I was like, hey, who are you?
So my name's Justin Cogley. I'm Angela Lau's husband. And of course she runs the Australian Dance Festival. I work as a psychologist, so part-time in schools as a school counsellor, and I have a small private practice that I'm in the process of sort of winding.
How long have you been in that industry for?
So in school counselling, nearly 25 years.
Wow. Do you primarily just work with kids or do you work with adults?
I'm in a public high school. For most of my counselling career, it's been across primary and secondary schools, and my private practice is just with adults.
Okay, so just to be clear, you're not a dance teacher, you're not a dance studio owner, but you used to dance.
Used to dance.
Have you still got the moves? I'm not going to make you dance, but
yeah,
it's an important question.
If I don't have to prove it,
No,
I'll
you don't have
say,
to prove it.
yeah, it's probably still got the moves. Learned salsa for a period and then ultimately met my wife through dancing salsa.
Romantic too. Were you partners or were you like rivals at competitions?
Well, I met her through social dancing. I was
Yes.
still doing lessons. She knew a bit more. She was a bit ahead of me.
Okay.
And then ultimately we ended up becoming dance teachers in salsa, and we taught together, and then Ange opened up a small
Yeah.
salsa school. So yeah, I taught for about 10 years.
Oh wow. Okay, so you were a dance teacher, but in a different
But social salsa,
Social.
not your sort of formal,
dance studio,
Competitive
kids,
area.
competitive dance. You're an advocate for a particular type of therapy.
there's something called coherence therapy, and coherence therapy gave me probably the most profound understanding in why people do what they do. Great fan of it. I think it's an amazing therapy. Hard to do. It looks at what makes emotional sense of why people do what they do. What's emotionally coherent
For them.
for them.
So you're also involved in Action for Happiness.
Action for Happiness is it's a UK charity actually that has created this amazing suite of resources from basically your positive psychology or psychology around what makes people happy has been distilled into this suite of short courses, longer courses, videos, podcasts, etc., to get people to take small daily actions to live happier lives. So it's around some core sort of things around giving, relating to others, being in tune with your emotions, finding meaning. And so for me, I've probably gotten more interested in that in the last year or so as a bit of an antidote or a bit of a something to counter the heaviness of actually sitting with people's sad kind of heavy problems.
So change of note.
Yeah.
You're going to ADF.
Yeah.
This is probably a silly question. Have you been before?
Been every year.
You are so supportive. Do you help also, like previous years? Not talking about this year's because we're going to talk about that.
Whatever my wife needs me to do, I do. From checking people's stamps or wristbands to whatever, ushering, whatever's needed.
This year is a little bit different. You're going to be in the Teachers VIP Lounge and you're actually going to have a talk.
So that talk will be on something from, again, drawing from the psychology field. There's something called the drama triangle, which is a psychological model that helps us understand the kind of drama, the dynamics, the stressful and dramatic dynamics that we can get into in any relationship. And so I think it's a very useful model and a model worth sharing with people, particularly dance studio owners and teachers, because frankly, we all end up caught up in drama at different times.
There's so much drama. There's so much drama in dance studios. Even if you're not a dance studio that has a lot of drama, there's always drama.
Yeah. So you have a studio?
I have a studio.
That'll be interesting to get
I'm excited to hear this.
reflections on this then.
There's drama in everything, and learning how it actually works from, I want to say from a professional point of view, that is your thing. You know all about it. To actually have an outside a professional insight. Does that make sense? Yeah. But then you've also got A winner's triangle?
There is a winner's triangle. So
I like that one. I like the sound of that one.
well, I guess that's the solution to, if you want to avoid the drama, there's the proposition is there's a winner's triangle, a better way to interact with people where there's less drama. So the drama triangle then, it assumes there are kind of three predominant roles we can get into in any drama situation. One is we might be the rescuer, the persecutor. So if you think about an inverted triangle, so you've got rescuer in one point, persecutor in another point, and a victim at the bottom. Typically, we unconsciously get into these roles. So let's say, for example, in your studio, you might have a student who is struggling to get there, struggling to participate, looking sad, kind of a bit out of things. And you as a teacher might go, wow, that poor little thing. So you might assume this person is suffering and I need to help them. Naturally.
Is that a rescuer?
You might come in as the rescuer, right? And so you might come in and go, darling, what's wrong? Let me come and talk to me.
Let me fix you.
Let me fix you.
Look at me. I haven't even gone to your workshop yet, but I know what's going on.
Okay. And so what happens if you try and fix that person?
If you try to fix that person, is there drama?
Well, the drama can come, right? Because let's say you think, and well-intentioned, you come in, you think, the poor little thing, I know a little bit about what's going on at home, they don't get much attention. I've got some love and attention to give. I'm going to help them.
Yes.
And they need my help. And I get...
That's the rescuer.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and rescue them. So I'm going to give them my wise counsel and my time. And they might not take all of your wise counsel. And you might feel like,
That's odd.
I've given them great advice, I've given them a lot of time, but they're not doing what I think is the solution. And so you might start shifting across to persecutor mode. I'm grateful, I've given them all this time. And so you can start to see, or they might feel, hey, I don't need you to rescue me. I'm having problems, but I don't need your fix. You know, your fix doesn't fit me. And so they might start getting irritated and go up to persecutor, and then you become the victim.
They can move.
And so you can move around the triangle. I guess the gist of it is it's not going to be happy or healthy for anyone if they're on the triangle, right? And it plays out for all of us in many ways every day, you know, and it can happen, I guess, at different levels. It can happen in our own heads. You know, you might have that kind of inner critic persecutor on one shoulder, or the poor me, the kind of...
On the other shoulder.
On the other shoulder. So this can play out as an internal dynamic, or it can play out as a dynamic between people. So let's say you recognize, well, I don't like the drama, it doesn't feel good. Yeah? You want a way off. So the solution, if it's offered, is one in which you might go from rescuer to not trying to rescue, but taking a position of being caring. So there's concern and care offered, but you're not jumping in to fix it. You're just going, they're good, I'm going to support them, you know, but I'm not the one with the solutions. They have the solutions for themselves. Because if we jump in and rescue, we actually rob them of their own power to fix their own problems, right? If we, instead of persecutor, we might be more assertive rather than critical and judging. And taking this kind of, I'm better than you and you're a problem. So being assertive with your boundaries, assertive with what you need from them, but you move from persecutor to assertive. So rescuer to caring, persecutor to assertive, and from victim to being vulnerable. I'm not hopeless and helpless. I'm weathering the storm right now, but I'm not useless. I'm not without power. And so if you're vulnerable, you can seek some support, but you're not seeking someone to fix things or rescue you from it. So that would be in brief.
In brief, because you're going to go in more detail.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Does that kind of make sense?
No, that does. That makes sense. I think it'll be cool. I'm excited for ADF then, because then we can link it all together to dance and different. I feel like it'll be cool for studio owners and teachers to hear specific examples or like working together to be like, oh, this has happened and this is what I've done. And you to be like, oh, well, actually, you're the rescuer in this situation. I think people having that little light bulb moment and then hearing the rest of what you've got to say to switch how they're thinking and then managing those situations. Awesome. Thank you for that information. That is very insightful. I'm excited. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Just, I guess in just with that model then, so I'm not sure in this kind of environment how well I've sort of outlined it.
No, you've done
but I
good.
think to put it in to the ADF sort of context, it'll be really trying to draw on the people's experiences within the room, you know, of them to reflect on their own practices and perhaps the different roles they might find
Yes.
themselves. I think a few things that are interesting is, one, it's unconscious that we get on, unconsciously that we
yes.
get on it. So it's not not to judge people around this. You can move around it very quickly. So we all end up on it in different ways. We're generally unconscious that we're on it, and we're going to dance around it in different ways. But we probably have a starting gate position, a preferred place that or a pattern where we might recognize, oh yeah, I tend to be the rescuer, or I tend to be, oh poor me, or I tend to be, you know, critical or judgmental of people. All of those roles will come from people's experiences. So they'll have reasons for why they've ended up there. And I think probably the most powerful thing around understanding the triangle, and this isn't talked too much, there's plenty of YouTube clips on it if you want to explore it.
Deep dive.
But not many would actually tap into why people get into these roles. And one example might be, well, the rescuer might be, they intend well for people. They want people to do well, but they also might find that they get some validation, some meaning, some identity from doing that.
That's true, yeah.
And so that becomes much harder for them to shut down or to be, to step back from. Because if their meaning in life is from rescuing others, and that might come from they were harmed in their early life, and they thought, oh, if I ever see someone else in similar circumstances to what I had, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to them.
Wow.
So it starts to get deep very quickly.
That is
when
deep
you look
quite
at that.
quickly, isn't it?
The rescuer might be, they're so caught up with, they've got so many issues in their own life. It's much better to put my interests and efforts into fixing someone else rather than
Fixing
turning
internally.
to what seems so overwhelming and big and untouchable in their own lives. And so I think we can look at all of those roles as there'll be reasons why they're there, and we can look at it with compassion as to why they might be in those positions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for chatting to me. I feel like I've learnt a lot.
You're welcome.
Learnt a lot.
Thank you.
Drama triangle, winner's
Winner's triangle.
triangle.
And the emotional coherence that sort of feeds
Yeah,
into it.
that's a lot. I'm going to be thinking about this all day now. Thank you so much, Justin. We will see you at ADF.
You're welcome. Thank you.